on inside and we'll start the tour inside.
Alright. Do it slow, so this way,
Nice and cool in here anyway.
Oh, yeah.
I had people tell me my kitchen was bigger than theirs.
And this is John?
I'm John.
Hey, John.
Let's start the back. We'll start with the brains of the operation over there.
Gotta take care of the brains.
Yeah, which is your monitor panel. Your monitor panel basically shows the level of your holding tanks. So you can push these buttons. Your gray tank, it'll show you basically in an LED format from 1 to 4, 1 being empty, 4 being full.
Okay.
Gray tank is basically where your shower and your sinks dump into. Black tank, same scale, that's where your toilet dumps into. Your black tank is your toilet. Freshwater tank. Now, freshwater tank you fill up if you know you're going to a destination without a city water supply. So you could basically turn on this pump, that's your water pump, and then that will pressurize your system so you can still use your toilets, your shower, your sinks.
Okay.
Don't run your water pump unless that is the case.
Only if we're actually working out of the tank.
Yeah, if you've got city water supply, the city water pressure actually does the pressurizing for you.
Okay.
So it becomes redundant at that point. Also, there's a battery level. Basically battery charge level. While your unit is plugged into shore power, it automatically charges the battery.
Okay.
While it's plugged into your truck, it automatically charges the battery.
Okay.
Up here, this is your hot water heater. You have a gas and gas water heater.
Okay.
So this is your electric. You turn it on. Within about 5 to 10 minutes, you've got a tank of hot water.
Okay.
It's a 10-gallon tank. This one is your propane. So you turn that on. Outside, right back here, you'll hear click, 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 and then you'll hear the gas ignite, and that takes a little longer to heat up.
Okay.
Usually within about 15 to 20 minutes, you'll have a tank of water.
Okay.
Sometimes if you've got a lot of people taking a shower, you can turn on both. It'll actually heat up a little quicker, but I wouldn't leave it on that permanently, just for the time you're going to use a lot of water.
Okay.
Down here we have a GFI outlet. Basically, whenever you're next to a water source, your 120-volt electrics need to have basically a built-in breaker on them.
Right.
If the breaker goes, basically you'll hear a snap. This outlet, the outlet by the kitchen sink, and the outlet outside will cease to work.
Okay.
It's a long chain of outlets.
Okay.
If you find any of those outlets don't work, come in, just push the reset button, and that'll reset them.
On this one?
Yeah, there's a test button and a reset button.
Okay.
Once you push the reset button, it basically resets the little breaker inside.
Okay.
And only this one has it.
Okay.
So this is just the start of the chain.
Okay.
If the breaker goes, it basically takes that whole chain out. Easy enough?
Easy enough.
Piping under here, they expose all the piping for you, just because it is sort of a living organism. It's always moving and twisting and turning.
Right.
Sometimes you will have a little leak. So they keep it visible, so it's not something you go, hey, in a year later, we've had a leak for a year. This way you can just open it and you'll see if there's a leak.
Okay.
You can always put your hand up there and see. You've got a vanity up here, hot cold running water. You've got a light switch. This one's a manual light switch. Just hit that.
Okay.
They're all manual. Some of them have switches like this one.
Okay.
But you can also operate it manually.
Gotcha.
Bathroom. It has a crank up vent and a switch for a fan.
Okay.
So that'll vent your hot gases from your shower, etc.
Right.
Just make sure that's closed when it's raining, because rain will come in.
Gotcha.
Shower. You can take a bath in here. It's not a giant home bathtub, but you can. It's more just good for kids or something like that.
Right. No, I am not taking a bath.
I would
not happening.
You put a little bit like that and you'd be overflowing. I know, me too. Your wand has a stopper on it, so you can sort of turn it on or off every time you need the water.
Gotcha.
And that plunger just goes down and you pick it up when you want to drain it.
Okay.
Easy enough. Foot flush toilet. Basically just step on it, goes down. A little cushion of water will stay in there. That cushion of water is important.
Okay.
That water basically keeps gases from coming up from the tank.
Gotcha.
So if you notice that water ceases to stay in there, then it's basically time to check the seal. There's a seal, a black seal that goes around that blade that comes across. And if that seal has debris on it, or it's time to change it, that water will basically leak out, and then it'll start to smell in the unit.
Okay.
So if that starts to happen,
that I can change myself.
If that's something that happens, I would just take it, you put a rubber glove on, and just take your finger under that seal and make sure there's no debris underneath it.
Okay.
If that doesn't fix it, you can replace it yourself. You can bring it in. It's we charge an hour labor to do it. But you can take there's 2 bolts on either side. The toilet comes right off. Flip it upside down, and you can reach right in and change that seal.
Okay.
So it's not that hard. Double bunks. You have storage under the bunk.
Oh, okay, so we can access
This access is from outside as well, but you can access it from inside.
Okay, great.
Lights on each one, so you can access them manually. Yes. Oh, great, thank you. Okay. Thermostat. It's a pretty easy thermostat to use. Basically, the middle switch controls whether it's cool or hot. This operates your furnace and your AC.
Okay.
Put it to cool. After you set your fan on auto, the fan will shut off once it hits temperature. If you put it on, the fan will remain on all the time.
Okay.
Which is important when you use the furnace. If you keep the fan on and turn the furnace on, the furnace is going to go and that fan is going to be on. A lot of people will come back and say, hey, my AC and my furnace are running at the same time. The compressor isn't working, just the fan is. It just helps circulate some of that air. If you want it, it's available. Fan speed low and high. If you want to turn it off, just put it to the middle setting there and it turns off. And you just control the temperature with ease. Easy as can be. Down here, we have your fuse box. Down here are your 120 volt breakers, just like at home.
Right.
They're listed what they run over here. And over here you have a bunch of 12 volt stuff. These control your lights, your radio, just all the little stuff.
Okay.
And it's also listed what they run here. I would get yourself a pack of 15 amp automotive fuses.
So they're all 15 amp?
All these ones are 15 amp, and there's a couple 40 amps in here.
Okay.
That basically run the converter itself, which basically handles all the 12 volts.
Okay.
Basically, shore power comes into a unit behind here, and a converter basically takes that and converts it to 12 volts, and diverts it to the battery and to your 12 volt appliances. So it's nice to have at least a couple 40 amp and a packet of 15 amps, just in case.
Okay.
All right. And here we have a hanger bar to hang up some clothes. Usually people use this at the pantry. I'm sure you'll find interesting ways to use your storage. Most people do.
So it's only 40 and 15, so you don't
Yes.
need, what was the, you said the other one was for the other side, what are you for those?
They're just resettable breakers.
Okay.
So you don't need to replace anything there.
One you can.
So all you need is some 15s and some 40s. You got all your bases covered. Fridge.
I just learned how to turn it on. I was like, oh,
Perfect.
turn that on.
Perfect. It's a two-way fridge. It works on electric and gas.
Okay. Oh, wow.
This is the left switch is basically your on and off. So if you turn it on, and then there's this is a toggle switch as well. If it's in this position, you'll see the auto light light up, and that basically pulls from electricity first. Pulls from your shore power, and once that electricity gets interrupted, whether you unplug it or you have an electrical outage or something like that, it'll automatically switch to gas. If you push the switch out, it'll automatically just go to gas. And it's not going to try to look for electricity. Some people like to run like that if they don't want to use electricity. Some people find that propane is a little cheaper than electricity, so you can always run like that. This thing does not use very much gas. It's basically a little pilot light that cools the thing off. One 5-gallon tank will run this thing for a week or two.
Oh, wow.
So you're pretty good in that respect.
I like that.
One thing we've ordered you, there's a couple clips that were missing from the last owners. So this shelf up here is not very stable until we get that clip.
Okay.
We'll call you when we get it in, and we'll get that replaced for you. It's a clip here that basically prevents it from going all the way in and falling down.
I gotcha.
So try not to put too much on that shelf if you can, or take it right out. But it was actually this shelf that was having the problem, but I took some of the hardware off this one and put it down to that one. These fridges, they take 6 to 12 hours to cool down.
Okay.
So they're not like a home fridge where you plug it in and half an hour later it's nice and cold.
Right.
If you need it the day of you're camping, I would recommend plugging it in and getting it cool the day before.
Okay.
That
So
way,
like as of right now, should we keep it on auto or?
when are you going to use it?
We're putting it on a campground from here.
Yeah, it's on gas right now.
Okay, so
we
it's
can
already
just leave it
started,
there.
right?
If this check light lights up, that means it's tried to light on gas and can't.
Okay,
So either the tanks are empty or they're closed or something's wrong with the unit. It's basically just a generic warning light that it's tried to light on gas. It'll light itself 3 times. If it can't, that light comes on.
Oh, wow, okay.
Are the tanks open right now, or are they?
I believe they are.
Okay.
That check light would come on if it wasn't.
Okay.
Range. Put it to light. Automatic sparker. So you can just...
And it goes very good.
Yeah, the AC's kind of... but it's nice and easy. Stove is a little more complicated just because it's in an enclosed space, so they can't put an automatic lighter on it. So you just don't do that and then wait a few minutes and then light it. Boom.
Right.
What you need to do is get yourself a barbecue lighter.
Okay.
Right in the middle, underneath this shelf, you'll see a little gas nozzle there.
Okay.
You put the dial to pilot,
Okay.
hold the dial in, and that basically lets a little bit of gas out. You light it with your barbecue lighter
As you got your hands.
while you're holding it, and that a little pilot light will light. Hold this in for another 15 to 20 seconds, and when you let it go, the pilot will stay on.
So I need 3 arms for that one, right?
Yeah, it's easy. It's pretty easy to do it too once you know where it is and once you've done it a couple
No,
times.
you need to do that every time.
Every time you start the pilot light. You light the pilot light just so you don't have to do that every time you want to use the oven.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So the pilot light stays lit until you turn to the off position. Meaning that you have oven on demand.
Okay.
So that pilot light stays lit until either the gas runs out or until you turn to the off position.
Okay.
All right? There are
What's the best thing? Leave it on the pilot light always? Or
if you're going to use it, yeah. If you're camping, you're going to use it. Light the pilot light and leave it on the whole time you're camping. There are safety measures in place. It's what we call a thermocouple, where gas only comes out of that spigot when it's hot. So once that pilot light goes out, gas flow stops.
Okay.
So you can't get a leak, or this cabin can't fill up while the pilot light's been out. You do have a propane detector down here. That it's a propane and carbon monoxide detector. No, it's hardwired, so it runs off battery power. So there's no battery to change on that. It's on the floor because propane is heavier than air, so the propane's going to stick down to the floor. That's why it's
And did we get a battery for the smoke detector? Or?
You got a smoke detector up here.
Does it turn red when it has it?
It turns red and it makes an audible noise. Smoke detector up here. Air conditioner. There's a ducting system in this thing. Basically, the duct system is active when all these doors are closed. If you're in a hot, when you're first coming in, it's really hot in here, just turn the AC on, open all these doors, and it floods this main cabin with the cold air. Once it cools down a bit, close these doors, and it basically forces all that air through the duct system. So it's going to go into the bathroom, it's going to go over the beds over there, and it's going to go into the bedroom.
Oh, wow.
So it's nice and easy that way.
Right.
Also,
It generates all through,
Yeah.
as long as those closed.
Yeah. Like when they're open, it still comes through a little bit, but not much.
Right.
And then when these are closed, all the air gets forced through those. Yeah. So you got
It just
you
spins
kind of
to
spin them
adjust.
to direct the air around
Okay.
where you want it. And there are floor vents. That's where the hot air comes from when the furnace is on.
Okay.
Now I've tested all your appliances. Everything works. I've basically gone through a 300-point checklist and made sure everything's working. So we check the electrical, we check the plumbing, we check the appliances, we check pretty much everything we can check. Not to say it always will remain working.
Right.
That's the nature of the RV business. That's why we check them so diligently, because there's a lot of moving parts and there's a lot that can go wrong. But that's why we're a repair facility. If you ever have any problems, you bring it back here and we'll take care of you.
Okay.
Microwave, just like a home microwave. easy to use. When you're in transit, turn this upside down.
Gotcha. What
basically-
wattage is that, do you know?
What's that?
What's the,
I believe it draws about 12 amps when it's on.
okay, and then when you cook, like, you know, you have like 1,000 watts on that shit.
I'm not exactly sure on this particular model.
Certain microwave cooking.
Yeah, I see 900 watt.
Okay, then it might be a 900 then. Sounds about right. But it's just like a home unit. It is plugged in the compartment here, I believe. Where are they plugged in? Oh, it must be plugged behind this cabinet, so you don't have to worry.
I put the insurance paper in the drawer.
Down here, this is the cold air return for your furnace. So don't block it with anything. If you're running the furnace, if you're not running the furnace, it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
Little storage under there for your under sink stuff, little drawers. That is a GFI outlet, like I told you before, and there's an outlet, a GFI outlet underneath there as well. So you got lots of places to plug stuff in. Manual light switch. We'll go over here. TV. The TV operates on an antenna or cable.
Okay.
The antenna is in the bedroom right over here. Basically, you'll see arrows on the top. So this way to go up. You basically take it up until you meet resistance and it stops itself. So
Okay.
you go up there and you can pull this down and turn it
Okay.
to basically fine-tune the signal you get. Sometimes you'll find you'll get better signal just by putting it on the channel and spinning that around a little bit. There are two triangles. When you bring it down, make sure those triangles are together.
Okay.
Because that basically puts it in the spot where it's supposed to fall.
Right.
And then just before you leave, make sure this is down or you will have a big hole in your roof and an antenna on the road.
Don't want that.
It's nice to make a checklist of things you need to do before you pack up and leave.
Right.
Just for the first while, if you get into the swing of things, then it becomes kind of habit. But you'll figure out some things to do. I'll go over most of what you need to do.
You have another smoke detector on the wall there?
Yeah, that's the carbon monoxide detector. So you're covered for smoke, carbon monoxide, and propane. Pretty much all your deadly stuff in here.
Okay, so that's a CO2 and that's a CO2?
No, that's propane, sorry.
Okay,
Just
that's only propane?
Sometimes they make a combination CO2 propane here, but that's just propane. That's the CO2, and that's the smoke up there.
Okay.
Radio, pretty easy stuff. You have 3 different speaker areas. I believe you only use 2. B isn't used. A and C. C is outside, A is inside.
Okay.
So you can toggle them on and off just by pushing them. You can put a DVD in here. It'll play through the radio and play through the speakers.
Okay.
Easy enough. You get a remote for the radio, so you can control the volume from outside. TV. Pretty simple stuff. It's hooked up to the antenna booster right now. I'll show you that in a sec.
So I guess what I thought was a crack along here was just dirt or dust or something? All right.
So basically, if you're in a new area, just go to the menu to channel and do an auto channel search.
Okay.
And that will pick up the channels in that area. I did a channel search just to test it, so it's picking up the channels in this area. Down in this cabinet here, this is basically your cable feed.
Okay.
When that green light is lit, it's energized the antenna.
Okay.
So you'll get a better antenna signal than you would cable signal. If you're going to run from an external cable signal, like if you're at a campground and they have cable for you, just push that button so the light's off, and you'll get a better cable signal through it.
Okay.
Right above it is a 12-volt charger. So it's kind of like one of those cigarette lighter chargers.
Right.
You can plug one of those accessories in there.
Okay.
And a couple plugs down here. The TV's plugged in there. Nothing crazy about that. Put your remote up there. Nothing storage down there. Movies and such. Over here, let's see. This is your slide in and out.
Okay.
Slide.
See that?
Yeah, the slide goes in and out, never in between. It seals itself when it's all the way in or all the way out.
Can we watch it going in there?
You bet.
Seen it.
Stand this way. We'll bring it in. And the motor will clip itself out once it's reached its full in or out cycle, and you'll hear it go clang, 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 clang. It's not a bad thing, it's just the motor telling you it's not going any further. And just make sure the cupboard doors are in the way. Just make sure the path is clear before you bring it in.
I've been waiting to see it.
So there is no getting to the bathroom while this is clipped.
No.
Okay.
You can if you want to squeeze through.
Like I said, there's no getting to the bathroom.
But your slide runs on 12-volt battery power.
Okay.
So if you need to stop while you're driving, you'll still have battery power. So you can just push this out, enough to get to the bathroom.
Okay.
And then go to the bathroom and just bring it in when you're done.
Okay.
So not a huge deal. It's not like you got to be plugged in to use it.
I gotcha.
And we got to leave it in when we travel.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
Definitely. Pull it all the way up. You'll see it kind of goes down and seats itself when it's done. It kind of hits. All right.
That's the noise you're talking
That's the noise I'm talking about. Once you hear that noise, just take your finger off the button. When it's on there, when it's coming in, it doesn't make that noise. It'll just stop. Just make sure it's fully in.
Now I see an inspection sticker.
Mm-hmm.
Does this have to be inspected every year?
Yes, trailers every year or two. You can get a 2-year sticker.
Okay.
There are certain automotive places that do trailers.
Okay.
They don't really enforce it all that often, but it is the law.
Okay.
So.
And I'm assuming that y'all can do that here.
No, we don't do that here.
Oh, okay.
Where do we need to go then?
Mario will probably be able to fill you in on that more.
Okay.
I don't really know anywhere
I mean,
in
like
the area.
the Kinner.
Yeah, you just there's places that do trucks and trailers.
Okay.
And a lot of places just do cars.
Right.
So you just they probably, if you go on the website, it'll tell you if it does trucks and trailers. Couch pulls out. You do a bed. You've done that. Perfect. So you know what's going on there. It's rare to have like one that has actual pull-out bed that's actually a mattress, so it's really nice. You have storage under both sides of the dinette bench.
Okay, I didn't know if you had it.
Yeah,
like
so you
that.
basically pull the couch cushions off, and you can pull these lids off, and you've got extra storage underneath the.
So it doesn't have a finger hole to be able to grab it?
Yeah. Well, it's right back there.
Oh,
actually.
okay.
Awesome. And you can pull the table off, pull the legs off, drop the table down onto this decking right here, and squidge the cushions together, and it becomes another little bed. So it's not really a wide bed or anything, but someone can make use of it.
Right.
Exactly.
Not for
With
one.
a couple of kids there. All right. Light switches in the front on this sucker. Overhead storage here.
Now, what more products you got in there? You got like 60.
It's a little automotive bulb.
Oh, okay.
So they're.
'Cause I was trying to get those little spiral ones.
No, they won't fit. They're not sockets like you would see in a home. They're specialized light bulbs, and they do draw very little power. So you're okay in that respect. You can change them to LED light bulbs. They are expensive.
Do y'all do that work? The LED?
Well, it's
actually
just a bulb.
in
Yeah.
there.
Okay.
So they're prepped for it. You just got to change the bulb.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay, so we don't have to put a whole.
Rewire,
Right.
do a LED system.
The bulbs
Okay.
run $20 to $30 a piece. So it is expensive, but it does generate no heat, and it's very easy on the power consumption. Shades, basically just pull them down, pull them up.
Okay. So it's just single shade, not day-night shade?
Yeah, it's just a single shade.
Okay.
Sometimes they will get loose. Basically, they have anchors that go down here to little circular mounts. All you would have to do is just put one more loop in that string, and it'll tighten it up.
And it's okay, so it's on
just
both
over
sides.
time, yeah. Just over time, they just loosen up a little bit, and sometimes one of them might not stay up as much as you want.
Okay.
Just put another loop in there, and it'll stay up and down, no problem.
Okay.
All right. Back to here. Awning. You take out the awning. Show you this. Awning goes out to basically the flap drops down.
And there's Barrett, our sales guy.
So right at that point right there, that's basically fully extended on.
Okay.
If you held your finger on the button, it will roll back on itself and start rolling it up. But just mind where the extend and retract button goes down. And these are two light switches. One is for this main entry light here.
Okay.
So when you first come in, you got some light access. And one turns on this orange bug bulb.
Okay.
Nice and easy.
What'd you call it?
Bug light.
Oh.
Yeah. Under here you got some additional storage. Fire extinguisher.
Okay. What kind of fire extinguisher?
It's a chemical fire extinguisher.
Chemical? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you need to get another one, or is that one gonna be?
Well, if you've got a major fire, that's not going to do the trick.
Yeah.
But it's good for a little kitchen fire or something like
Right.
that. These
Yeah, I
things,
mean, we'll probably get a couple more just
yeah, you can't hurt to have too many fire extinguishers.
I mean, since we'll basically be full-timing, it's good to have.
Oh, perfect, yeah.
At least a couple more.
Cigarette around here, you know, we just had that at the apartments, and it was like, seriously, and it caught on fire.
No kidding.
Oh, okay. So that didn't get re-siliconed or something?
They don't affix it with anything
Okay.
on either side. It's just a floating cap.
Okay. Well, I had, when it was poked out like that, I saw silicone in here.
Yeah, they might put a little bead of construction adhesive. I can put a little construction adhesive there if you'd like, no problem. Inside, you take this clip off the door, and the pocket doors will close. So you get a little bedroom privacy that way. Yeah. And then once you close them, there's a little clip in here. You just clip them together so they don't clang around during transit. This one has a ceiling mount TV. Cable outlet. You got power here, so you can run a nice TV in here. Underbed storage. So this connects to the compartments up front. So you can put a bunch of stuff in here. If it's a rainy day, you can access it from inside instead of going out. It does have a bar, so you can hold this sucker up while you take stuff in and out.
So all of our exterior storage we can actually get to from inside?
Yes, which I'll mention little security measures when we get outside.
Okay.
Overhead storage. Both these bins have hanger racks on them, so you can hang up clothes. Reading lights on both sides. And plugs on both sides, so you can plug in your chargers and stuff. Easy enough. Any questions about the inside stuff?
No.
Pretty straightforward?
Yep.
Okay. Let's go outside and we'll deal with some stuff out there.
Okay.
Can I see your keys for a sec? I'll just explain these two locks. This lock at the top is a service lock. I have that key. Everybody who works here has that key. It's not a secure lock for you guys.
Okay.
This is your deadbolt. Your keys will work both, but use this key if you're going to leave your key.
Okay.
So no one but you has that key.
And we have 2 keys for that, right? Okay.
You have 2 keys and 2 silver keys for your compartment.
Okay.
Now as for your compartments, this key here, everybody who's ever bought a camper has this key.
Right.
It's called what we call a 751 key. So it's a very common key. I would recommend, since these compartments do go inside, to switch them out to keys that are unique to you.
Okay.
You can do that for $6 to $10 a lock.
What about like combination? Because I saw on YouTube something about combination locks.
You can buy all sorts of different ones.
Okay.
You just have to find something that works for you. But I'd just like to mention that to people so they know the risks involved.
I was already planning on replacing those. So.
Perfect. These are little clips that hold the doors open.
Okay.
So when you do open it up, hold it open like that.
I got you.
Stuff in there. That's easy. Yeah, plenty of storage in there. It's nice and big.
Oh yeah.
All right. This latch holds the door open. So if you're in a windy day, hold it open. It won't clang up in the back against the sidewall.
And then the screen door release.
Screen door releases. You close it like that. Inside,
See, baby?
slide that
Screen
over.
door.
And then once you close the main door, it kicks up the screen door.
Okay.
So you only have to open one door from the outside. Red slider is your deadbolt. It's when you're turning in for the night or want to stay inside. You just flip that over.
Okay.
And the deadbolt recesses. That service lock just locks this bolt here.
Gotcha.
The deadbolt actually brings that bolt out. Right here is you got 120 volt power, and you've got a cable out. This is so you can put a TV.
Okay.
This is so you can put a TV in this location. You can put a little stand here, or you can mount one to the sidewall.
Okay.
It's completely up to you. That is your exhaust fan from your range hood.
Okay.
It's got little clips on it. You can see. You can reach it out your hand. You see the two little clips in there. You just slide them to the sides, and that releases it. That basically keeps the mud divers out.
Okay.
So make sure that's before you start cooking and you want to use the range hood, just undo those clips and so it has somewhere to go.
Okay.
2 outdoor speakers. This is your furnace. Furnace exhaust gases, very hot exhaust gases will come out here when the furnace is on.
Okay.
So make sure no little hands touch that.
Sure.
Make sure nothing's leaning against it because you won't melt it or catch it on fire. This is the exhaust for your refrigerator. There's a drip tray in there where it evaporates the stuff in the water. And yeah, basically gases flow out here when it's on propane. It does have some exhaust gases, that's why it's like that.
Sure.
You can buy screens for them. I would highly advise it.
Okay.
So the mud divers don't get in. This is a big cavity in there. Basically, we'll open that up. And mud divers love to get in there. It goes all the way up to the wall. So it basically screens it's a little thin piece of mesh that goes along here and just gets attached with zip ties. We sell them inside if you want to get those.
Not interested in sharing my home with wasps. Now what about...
We recommend getting a set for this, a set for here, and a set for your hot water heater.
Okay.
So those are basically the 3 main places they'll get in.
That's what we're getting.
And it's really problematic when they get in here, because they go in this hole and they make nests in the burn chamber, and your furnace will stop working after a while. Same with the water heater. They love that burn chamber because it's insulated, it's nice and warm and temperature controlled. Then your hot water heater stops
like a little mesh.
They have like little covers for them. So
we're buying those today.
It's not too expensive, a good investment.
I'm trying to figure out where can we go to get a brake tag while we got the RV out.
It's got a brake tag on it. Until, is it next month?
Yeah, I think it's 08. So
that's why I'm trying to find, and I know Mario just left, so.
I'll see if I can figure it out for you too. This is the under bunk storage you had access to. So again, you probably want to get that lock replaced.
Change the lock on that. Now, do y'all sell replacement locks here?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
Hot water heater access. There's nothing really to do in here. A lot of units have an anode that needs to be replaced. This just has a rubber plastic plug.
Okay.
It's a coated unit, so it's not going to rust. That's why they don't put an anode in it.
Okay.
So there's no maintenance that needs to be done on your end for this. Maybe once a year or something, you could pull the plug and drain the sediment out.
Okay.
Flush it out. But aside from that, you're...
So you just, with doing that, you just pull the plug out?
Yeah, you just get a ratchet, pull the plug out, and let it drain. And maybe put some water in it and flush it out a few times.
Okay.
Just like a home unit, just a little bit of sediment gets in the bottom and stays there.
Okay, and you can just hook up a hose, or not hook up a hose, but...
You can just run your hot water inside, and it'll basically start dumping water into there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So leave it open, run hot water.
Yeah.
Turn on the heat.
Yeah.
And then run it. Okay.
Yeah, you don't want to turn on the heat though. Without any water in it. Yeah, without any water in it, you don't want to turn the heat. You'll burn up the elements.
Okay, so just turn the hot water knob.
Run the hot water. You don't need to run the
hot water knob, just not any heat.
This is your overflow. Basically, if it gets over temperature, water will start to discharge there just to prevent it from exploding.
Gotcha.
Just like the home unit. Full-size spare tire. Your tires are 65 pounds.
Okay.
Outdoor shower.
Got a bit of a ring around it.
Yeah, that's no big deal. It's never been used. It's just a little bit of sunlight.
need to get some covers, I take it.
Yeah, definitely can, if you're going to be sitting a while, getting
Yeah.
tire covers is a good idea. Exterior shower. Basically you can hose off outside if you're just at the beach or something like that. This thing actually retracts into a compartment under there and pulls out quite a ways. Then you just sort of push it all back in. Leave it here.
Unless you just need to cool that off because it's a little too hot outside.
Exactly. Cool. This is your cable in. Yeah, it's just a handle poking it out a bit. This is your cable in.
Okay.
So if you've got cable in from a campsite, just hook it up to there, and that'll run to that outside outlet and run to your bedroom outlet,
Okay.
and run to your dining room outlet. City water connection. So if you've got city water connection, you just take the hose. Make sure you have a regulator on that hose.
Yeah.
City water pressure is usually too much for these units.
Yeah.
We test them under city water pressure, just to make sure there's no leaks. But going forward, that regulator will lower the pressure.
One
to
of my
normal
buys
levels.
today, and
Yeah.
probably a 90-degree elbow if y'all have those
That definitely
inside.
helps if you're going to be camping a lot.
I've done some research. I've looked around a little bit.
This is your 30 amp extension cord.
Okay.
It's hardwired, so it doesn't come off.
Okay.
When you're done with it, you just unplug it and shove it back in the
Just
compartment.
push it back in.
Yeah,
Okay.
and the head of it just sits in there. It's nice to have a 50 amp to 30 amp converter
Yeah.
kit, just in case you're at a campsite that only has 50 amp.
Right.
Then you can still run what you need to run.
You didn't tell them about the self-destruct button yet, did you?
No.
No, we haven't gotten there yet.
This is your sewage tank outlet. Black tank is a black handle, gray tank is a gray handle.
Okay.
Dump your black tank first.
Right.
You get your hose on there, dump your black tank first. Recommend don't dump it until it's a third full.
Okay.
That way it just has enough volume in it to flush everything out.
So the LEDs are quarter by quarters, or?
The LEDs are by thirds. Basically
By thirds.
empty, third, 2/3, and full.
Okay.
So you got one light and you're good to go.
Okay.
Some campsites have a dump at each campsite.
Right.
Don't leave this open.
Okay.
Just leave it closed, and then once in a while, once it gets up to that third, then you can dump it.
Okay.
And then after every time you dump it, put your chemicals in it. Your chemicals digest all that good stuff in there and make it nice and fluid to get out of there. Then after you dump the black tank, dump the gray tank. You can leave the gray tank open if you want. It's just basically water with body oils and
Right.
such in it, and dishwater and such. These are what we call low point drains. If you're going to winterize your unit, you can evacuate all the water from your plumbing system with those valves. Just turn them on, and if it's not pressurized, it'll basically take every drop of water. It's basically the lowest point in the plumbing system.
Okay.
So all the water funnels down to there, and you can...
And what's winterizing?
What's that?
What's winterizing?
Oh, winterizing. You basically, if you're going to travel to a winter climate or leave it in storage over winter, you can basically suck up antifreeze into your plumbing system. Just so the pipes don't burst. If you leave water in it and it freezes, I'm from up north, so it's a common thing up there, your pipes burst.
Yeah. Alaska, South Dakota.
Yeah, anywhere a few hours.
I've been there. I know what you're talking about. So if we're actually staying in it in winter conditions,
well, if you're staying
we don't need to worry about.
This isn't really a winterized unit.
Okay.
There's some units that are made for winter.
Gotcha.
This one really isn't. You'd have to make some modifications to make this a winter unit.
Well,
so keep out of Canada for the time.
The idea is snowbirding, so we're
Yeah, so this really isn't a winter unit per se.
Okay.
It can handle like near zero temperatures.
Okay.
Once you get anywhere below that, you're pushing your line.
Okay. Now, would you recommend maybe some just support jacks under the slide?
No. You don't need to. They're not going to bend over time.
Even for full-time
They're not going to bend over time.
Okay.
If you look at the size of those metal supports, they're not going to bend.
Okay.
They're very thick steel, and there's two of them under there. They're not going to bend.
Any
you could. It's not going to hurt, but you'd have to be careful. You're not going to put pressure on somewhere
I
you don't want to
gotcha.
put pressure.
Is there any like regular maintenance I should do with the seal?
You can buy
on
seal
a regular
conditioner.
basis?
Don't use Armor All.
Okay.
Armor All will actually dry the seal out if you don't keep putting Armor All on it.
Okay.
We have some seal conditioner. It's basically a foamy product that just it lubricates those seals.
Okay.
And it's nice to have a jar, and whenever you wash it, you can squirt those down. But
So it's not going to hurt anything if whenever I wash it once a month
it's actually good to
put
do
it on there?
It'll add some longevity to it.
Okay. And across the top?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can't hurt. This is your fresh water inlet.
To fill the tank?
Yeah, this
To
will
fill
fill
the
your
white
freshwater tank. Get a hose.
Okay.
You can shove the hose right in there. When it reaches capacity, water will start coming out of the screen. That's the overflow.
Okay.
Or you can just check your panel just to keep tabs on it and see where it is.
So city water connection and then fill the tank.
This is the drain for the freshwater tank.
Okay.
All right. The other side of your storage compartment. All right. This crank is for your stabilizer jacks. What we usually recommend to people is get yourself a drill and a 3/4 inch socket, and you can take those up and down in no time flat.
That'll be one of those future purchases.
Good to have keep those lubricated because they are steel and they're not coated, so the spindles do rust. And over time, WD-40 would be fine. Yeah.
So again, something when I wash the thing every month, just
give it a squirt around here and inside and the feet and stuff like that.
Okay.
Recommend you before you put it down, put some wood under there or some plastic just so the feet aren't touching the ground. That'll keep the steel from rusting too quickly.
Okay. Now, I bought some cinder blocks to put under there. Okay. Trying to get as far ahead as I can before we get this where it's got to go.
Again, this is great. And those stabilizer jacks, basically you get your unit backed in, try and get as level as possible. It's nice to have a level so you can put it inside and just make sure it's level.
Which is what we forgot to buy this morning.
Then put your stabilizer jacks down. You don't want to lift the unit up. They're not designed to take a lot of weight.
Right.
They're just designed to touch down and make it so you don't feel like you're in a boat when you're inside walking around.
Okay, so I should basically just let it touch, or should I give it just a little?
Just let it touch.
Just touch.
And then once you're in it, the tires will compress a little bit, and it'll basically sit on those jacks. So just let them touch. Here you'll find a lot of pertinent information: your weights, your tire pressures, your VIN number, all kinds of good stuff. It's all law that they keep that stuff on here. You can see your tires are 65 pounds. They give you your dry weight. Where are you? 3,000 pounds. Oh, that's the tires. Yeah, your cargo weight shouldn't exceed 3,000 pounds. Your dry weight is 6,300 pounds.
Okay.
So usually you shouldn't lose that more than 9,000 pounds the same. Which for your truck, I think you're doing okay. Over here, you have a deep cycle battery. It's a maintenance-free battery. You don't have to touch it. Like I said, the shore power recharges the battery. Your truck, when it's plugged into the 7-way, will give you battery power. You've got propane here. 2 5-gallon tanks. You can switch the tanks by just flipping that lever.
Okay.
Easy enough. Let's go around the other side, and I'll show you how to deal with your...
Now, this doesn't need to be tied down while we're moving?
No,
or?
It's not going to come off.
Okay.
You can tie it down with a punch cord or something like that.
What, baby?
I want to know, is there a way that we can put locks
On the propane tank?
that?
And the battery?
And also put batteries.
Okay. Is there a way to lock the covers for the battery?
No, not really.
No.
I'm sure you could buy something on the internet, but nothing that we sell or install.
I mean, so like just a cable and a lock to go around, kind of where that strap is, and kind of the same thing.
Usually they don't get stolen because they're so bloody heavy. No one wants to carry around a 60-pound battery when they're trying to make a quick getaway. This is your electric tongue jack. Basically, when you're putting your hitch on and off, you want to jack up the truck a fair amount. You basically get the ball in, and then jack that ball out. Basically, take it off in reverse and show you how to remove it, and then we'll put it back on together.
Okay.
Basically, the further you jack it up, the easier it becomes to take off and put back on the hitch.
Okay. Now, is this sway controller the one that I have to disconnect?
Yes.
Before I back up?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to give you these before I put them in my pocket. So yeah, before you go in reverse, before you back it up into a spot or back it up in your driveway, you'll just have to come here, pull out this pin, and remove this.
Okay.
You don't have to remove anything else, just this piece.
Okay.
If you go in reverse, if you're just going a little bit backwards, straight ahead, it's not a big deal. But if you're going to make a corner in reverse, this thing will bend in half.
Okay.
And this is, I think it's like $100 and something to replace. So you can buy a replacement, it's not the end of the world, but
Right.
we don't want you to have to replace it. For right now. This is easy to do with this cover off. Basically, these are locked, your arms are locked down with this pin right here. Pull your pin, this little cheater bar that comes with it. Just put your cheater bar on it. And that's disconnected. You basically do that the same with the other side. Pull these out at a 90-degree angle. There's a little clip right here that you can stick your fingers in. Hit that clip. And this thing will come out.
Okay.
Then you can shove that in your compartment or in the bed of your truck. Now to put it back in, keep it at 90 degrees. Pull it up, and unless it's 90 degrees, it doesn't come out.
Okay.
So you don't have to worry about it coming out. As long as it clips in there, and you'll know if it doesn't clip in properly, it'll come right out no matter where it is. Like I said, just keep her jacked up. That takes tension off these arms, and then when you release it back down, that's what puts the tension on these arms and basically does the weight distribution for you.
Okay.
The way I've set it up, you're going to leave three chains hanging.
Okay.
Cheater bar. Get this sucker out of here. And you'll see it has a little notch in there to kind of hold the chain link. And when you're putting this in, don't get your fingers behind it or in front of it, because if it snaps off, it becomes pretty violent. Just keep your hands to the side and you're okay. So you just kind of get it on there into a spot. And then that notch kind of grabs it a little bit. Just bring it up, put that pin in, and it's good to go.
Okay.
It'll take you a few times just to master putting it on, but it's the same as anything. It's a learning process.
Right.
But like I said, just make sure this is jacked up almost all the way to the top, and it becomes a lot easier to put these arms on. If you find it's really hard to put it on that fourth chain, then jack it up a bit further.
Okay.
Now, if you need to jack it up even further, like this is almost fully clipped out, extended. If you find you need to jack it up a little further, put a little block of wood under there, and you can jack it up a little bit more.
Okay. So
now we just.
So I mean, right now it doesn't look like the truck will be able to pull away from the hitch as it is.
Oh no, it wouldn't be able to pull away at all.
I mean, it would have to. So I would have to have something underneath that. If I was parking it right here and disconnecting, I would have to put a block.
No.
Or something.
Well, you could. You basically get a level, put it inside. You disconnect everything, and then you just you raise it up so your truck comes away from this ball.
Okay, so it will still come up higher.
Oh yeah.
To be able to.
Like right now, I've got it locked in here, so that's why it's all the way up in this truck is because I'm holding your truck up.
Oh, okay.
This jack is strong enough to do that. If I disconnected it, the ball would be down here.
Okay.
So you could easily pull away. This sucker, never lubricate it. This is basically a friction material. It's got a texture to it, so it creates friction.
Okay.
You can loosen it, and you basically loosen it. Put one end on it with the pin, and then you just hit the other end on it. Because sometimes your truck isn't going to be in the same exact spot if you take it off, so you just loosen it and do what I just did. Pins involved, and then just tighten it, just kind of hand tight. You don't need to go too tight, just like that.
Okay.
And that's it's gonna stay on there just like that. But what that does is just it locks in the trailer so it doesn't move around on the highway while you're driving.
Okay. And that's gonna auto adjust itself if I have to take turns.
And that's why this friction material, It'll sort of adjust as you go when you're making turns. And then we'll retract it, and you'll see how far we go down here. And these were fairly loose, and they got a heck of a lot of tension on them when this is dropped down. And that's what basically distributes the weight. Instead of, if you didn't have these bars, the weight of the trailer is on this one point, and it becomes like white knuckle driving at that point.
Right.
What these bars do is it distributes the weight between the truck and the trailer evenly. So that's fully down right now.
Okay.
So that lowered about a good 6 inches there. And take this jack all the way up before you leave, just so you've got that play to.
Right. So take it up until it decides it doesn't want to go up.
Yeah, just take it up at least till it's around this point.
Okay.
It's a bit of a pain to sit here and do that, but at least you're not cranking it.
And what's the other switch for? Is that for the motor?
It's a docking light.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just gives you a little light to work with. Pretty good right there. You've also got breakaway chains. You've got to put those on every time you drive your trailer around. So you just clip and unclip, easy enough. You've got to have them crossed. That's along Louisiana.
And clip it up and through.
Yeah, it's easier when you go from the back to the front. This one's got a what we call a breakaway cable on it. What that cable does, it's attached to a little control box that's mounted over here. And if your ball comes off and your chains break, that cable will actually pull out a pin in the control box, and your brakes will engage automatically.
Okay.
So your trailer doesn't go careening down the highway under its own steam, kind of thing.
So does that get?
It's just threaded through that cable and just gets locked in there with it.
Okay. So that doesn't actually get wrapped around.
No, it's just inside that cloth. And your 7-way. Your 7-way is what gives you brake power, controls your lights, all that good stuff. Before you leave, before you pull away, always want to make sure your lights are working.
Right.
We did a light check when we hooked up your hitch. So you want to make sure your brake lights work, your blinkers work, your running lights work. All your bulbs are good right now. Before you leave, you'll want to make sure your awning's in, your stairs are retracted. Your door's locked, all your compartments are locked, make sure your antenna's down,
right.
Your slide's in, the cover for your black valve is on, your scissor jacks are all the way up, and I think that's about it.
Vent in the bathroom?
Yeah, your vents are all the way down. You can get what we call max areas. You can put them on so you can leave the vents open all the time, but that's just a kind of added bonus if you spend the money.
Gotcha.
But yeah, any questions that you guys have?
How do you put the stairs in?
Okay.
I'm sorry, baby.
It's okay. It's just going like that.
Oh, that's it?
That's it.
Okay.
Really easy.
So nothing.
Can't hurt it when you're doing your WD-40 on your jacks. Just hit the pivot points on those stairs, and it'll keep them nice and easy to come in and out.
Okay.
Nothing needs to be done to the awning. Just clean it once in a while.
Okay. So I shouldn't lose the pivot points on them?
No, you shouldn't have to lubricate them at all. They're stainless steel, so they won't rust.
Okay.
One other thing, before you unplug your unit, make sure the AC is off from your thermostat. Okay. It creates a bit of a power spike when you plug it in and the AC is already on. It'll just avoid you snapping the breaker or doing any damage to it. Okay. So just before you unplug it, you turn it off from inside. Easy way to do it. Yeah, so we'll get you packed up here. Make sure the lights are on. You want to just bring in the awning there? That'd be awesome.